green. That is what I thought I was. Green. If you had invited me to a dinner party a couple of weeks ago, I would have been that person. They would have been going on and on and on about the planet and the environment and how we damage it and what we should do and what they should do and how we haven't done it, about global warming, the animals, carbon emissions, you name it, I would have had so much to say about it. And the interesting part is, I would have been having this conversation with you whilst enjoying my juicy steak. You see, I would have been going on about how terribly treated the cattle are and how they are butchered in the slaughterhouse, but I'll be eating the steak while actually having the conversation with you. So therefore, it's unconscious. So I was offered this TED Talk. Shukran jazilan, Dr. Mariam. And I was so excited, right? Because this was my golden opportunity to get to tell you about everything. So we've only got a time limit, so I started researching. And I went left and right, and I went to petrol companies, oil companies, power companies, my friends around the world. Thank you all for all the information you've given me, friends. I've contacted societies. And truthfully, I became so overwhelmed because I realized what an incredibly monumental subject this is. It's enormous. I mean, I didn't know where to start. I didn't know where to start. And I was actually quite exhausted. And I had one of those moments, you know, like a head in hand moment. And it was in that silence of my contemplation at my dining room table that the sound of this droning air conditioner, our AC, caught my attention. So I look up at it and I think, hang on a minute. I'm one person living in a 3-bedroom house. Let me go and check if my AC's on in my kitchen. So I dashed off to the kitchen, and guess what? It's on. So I ran to my bedroom, and the AC was on. And that was the first time that I could make an immediate contribution. And I turned both ACs off. So I gave back to society, by the way. But the point is, I wasn't in those rooms for the previous 5 hours. So I was burning energy unnecessarily. So now I'm excited, right? Because I feel like, okay, this is awesome. This is Mumtaz. I've got control over my immediate surrounding. I don't only have to join an association, of which I fully endorse and we should, but in this minute and in this moment, I have the power to make change in my house to serve our community. So I flung open my fridge, literally, and I thought, okay, let me do an internal audit of my food and my consumption. Let me remind you, one person in a 3-bedroom house, and my waste. And by the way, this is over 2 days, just so you know. I did this on purpose. And what you'll see is I've consumed quite a lot, that's fair enough, but there's a lot of leftover food that simply just went off or just wasn't good enough in my fridge. So Bukra, you know, I go to Nando's, and Bukra, I go to Alfair and Carrefour, and I just keep replacing. And I was shocked. There was an apple that was going off, and I threw it in the trash can. Did I stop to think maybe I should cut it up and just give it to the birds, perhaps? No. So it got me thinking, where is this food coming from? Why aren't I utilizing it effectively? And why do I think I can just disregard it? The truth is, my truth is, I have a job, I have faluz, gwazi, sa, yeah? And I can. I can. I'm privileged. And so, I'm going to tell you a little story about my passion. And everyone who knows me knows this is my passion. Sanura, Sanur. Amani Sanur, by the way. Okay. Shukran, thank you. Omani Sonora are my ultimate passion. And, every single day I drive past the trash can on my way home, of course, and I look at these creatures and I look at them and my heart bleeds with agony to see them living in this disgusting state, and they are hungry and they're fighting, and there's so many of them, and I worry about them, and I think I'm such a hero because I say these things to myself. Then I get home, pour myself a cup of tea, I sit on my sofa and I put on my AC, and then what do? I scroll through Facebook. Reams and reams of feeds on these amazing organizations, and there are many, that help these animals, for example. And so I make comments, right? I make comments on the Facebook feed such as, shame, oh how sad, thank you for all that you do. In the meantime, I'm on my couch drinking a cup of tea. You see, I think I'm contributing because I'm saying the words. But what have I actually done? Did I inconvenience myself for 1 minute to get off the sofa? Oh, are we having a sound? Is it this? White noise. Ooh. Oh. Do you think it's this? Tamam? Fabulous. Shukran. Okay, so did I get off my sofa, take that food, inconvenience myself for 1 minute of my perfect, comfortable life, go downstairs and feed the Sanura on the street? Mafi, I didn't. So, you'll notice that I reference animals a lot, and that just so happens to be my passion. Coming back to that slide. You see, green, the word green represents anything that you are passionate or motivated about. It doesn't have to be animals, it can be plastic, it could be recycling, it could be saving water, whether it's small or on a large scale or just to your neighbor. Green is giving back. Green is stopping the degradation of our beautiful home that we've been gifted with called the planet. Green is about contributing, and like Sheikh says, going the extra mile. That is what green represents. Okay? So I thought to myself, if you think about an election, presidents, how are they voted into power? It's about the collective volume, right, of the votes. And we all know how one vote can tip that election. So if we really stop to think about that, we don't have to all be doing the same thing with the same organization, but we have one planet, and if we're all contributing, it can only get better. That's what I believe. So, brings me back to this fantastic quote by S.L. Parker. And he says that at 211 degrees Fahrenheit, water is hot. But at 212 degrees, it boils. And with boiling comes steam, and with steam comes power, and with that power, it can mobilize a train. And that is 1 degree of separation. And that's what it takes with us. So then I asked myself, I'm getting to my conclusion, and the reality is I said to myself, so if I'm aware of this collective, I'm aware of it, then why aren't I doing anything to demonstrate, doing something about it? So, the question is, am I educated? Na'am. Am I aware? I'm very aware. I grew up in South Africa and the government used to promote conservation. I went to a school that sent us on conservation field trips. And I grew up in a privileged home where my parents would force me to eat every single green pea and broccoli and green bean, and I was screaming and shouting because my stomach was full. But my parents would say, there are starving people around the world, and be grateful for this food because we will not let you waste not one pea. And yet, as an adult, I'm just throwing food away because I can. Now, this slide might not mean a lot to people. I'm guessing with the age group I'm looking at. But a song came out in the 1980s by a band called Boney M. And I was a very young child, and they sang this very dramatic song about don't kill the world. Okay, I'm not a singer, but the point is, it was a very dramatic song, and it was a #1 hit. So we sang it as if it was like a national anthem, because it was on the radio every day. And I'll never forget looking up at the visuals on their music video. And I was mortified and petrified, because it was all about how the earth was dying and being destroyed at the hands of human beings. Point I'm trying to make is, I've been aware since 1985. So I have no excuse. And so this brings me back to this point. You see, Daniel Goleman's emotional intelligence concept, which I train, we talk about in leadership, management development, interpersonal relationships. So we always claim that the first step to become emotionally intelligent in business is self-awareness. So I'm not going to go into the quadrant with you, but I think it's relatively simple to read. That when you're self-aware, you learn to regulate or manage yourself. And when you're managing yourself, you're managing your relationships with those around you. And at the same time, you become socially aware. So they all interact. So if I understand this model, why have I not applied it in my eco-awareness? Why am I not self-aware? You see, perception defines our reality. Think about that. As long as you perceive yourself to be thinking green, or let me rather rephrase that, I thought I was green because my heart was green. And I thought I was green because I spoke green. But what have I done to demonstrate green? And so, in conclusion, the bottom line is this. I would like to thank TEDx Muscat. Thank you, Dr. Mariam. Thank you, Aaron. And the reason is not to stand up here and speak to you, although that is wonderful. I would like to thank TEDx Muscat for actually making me think about what I am doing and what I'm not doing. And therefore, I've become self-aware as a consequence to TEDx Muscat. And so, I'm not going to go in order because I don't want to read off a slide, but in short, these are the small things that I've started implementing in my daily life that I believe are making a small difference, that we can all do to make a difference, such as turning our air cons off when we're not using them, turning my lights off when I'm not using them. I'm a single person, so I wash clothes quite frequently, so I'm waiting like a week so I can do one load so that I don't have to burn energy all the time. I now put my geyser off and wash in cold, not that we really have cold water in Oman, but okay, anyway. All right, but exactly, so let's not keep the geyser on, right, when we have wonderful sun heating our water. In any case, I'm going to take a reusable bottle to work so that I don't consume too much plastic. I didn't put this on yet, but I'm definitely going to plant a tree because that's what I was taught at school, and I haven't planted a tree. And here we go. Here's the crux. I'm going to plan my meals more wisely so that I consume less waste. In the event that I do have excess waste, I'm going to go downstairs and get some exercise and feed the sanora or sanor. And if not, I will go to the shop, I will spend my faluz and gwazi and buy food and feed them regardless. Okay? And I now commit to joining the Environment Society of Oman, because since I've moved to your beautiful country, shukran jazilan. Thank you. I really want to thank the Omani community for allowing me to be in this beautiful country since 2011. And since 2011, I've been claiming that I'm going to join the Environment Society of Oman. I talked it. And I want to be part of this solution, actively. And you will see me, and I'm going to make sure I get into a press release, not for recognition, just to prove that I am going to follow through with this, okay? The Environment of Society, just for example, as per the Muscat Daily in 2014, just in 2 days, they removed 560 kilograms of plastic trash and pollutants in our waters, in our beautiful Demaniat Islands. And I say our. Okay, so imagine what else is going on. And finally, Now I have to swap hands. I stand before you, my immediate community, and the community at large that might be watching on YouTube, and I would like to make a pledge that I, Nicole Smart, no longer choose to talk green. I now choose to walk green. Please join me. Shukran jazeelan. Shukran jazeelan.